And we are on our way home. Let's see how many one headlighters we get on the way home. I'm gonna say 4. I think we got 3 on the way here. Let's see if we can get 4 on the way home. Our second left turn, that leads us to a road that's pretty good with perps normally. The one headlighter variety. Not a one headlighter. Not a one headlighter. Not a one headlighter. Oh, we got one. Here he comes. Here he comes. He had a missing running light. Don't know if the video caught that or not. So that's 1. We count the missing running lights. The running light off. Doesn't have to be a headlight. The old school bus. I also get harassed by folks with the Puerto Rican flag hanging from the rearview mirror. That's another one. Okay, 1 pedaddler so far. We said 4. We got about 10 miles to drive. Let's take a look-see. So how did I find out how I got placed on the domestic terror watch list? Well, the year was 2013. And I went downtown to open up a new bank account at a different bank. I wanted to switch banks. And I gave him $100, filled out the application. Everything's good, right? Well, about 2 days later, 3 days at the most, I get a phone call from the bank telling me there's a problem. They need to talk to me. I need to come on down. So I mosey on down to the bank, and I get taken into the bank president's office. Oh, there we go. There's 1. There's a pedaddler. That's 2 pedaddlers. I get taken into the bank president, just like in the Hollywood movies. Beautiful office. Huge desk. Like it was oak or something. Huge desk. Oh, you see the flashers? I've learned that when that happens, that generally means I'm getting hit with directed energy weapons. I don't have my RFID reader with me, but when I see those and I pull out the RFID reader, it lights up like a Christmas tree. So I get taken back to the bank president's office, and the bank president asked me to have a seat. I sit down, and before her is my application and my $100, and she moves it towards me and says, and I can remember this verbatim. It's seared in my memory. She says to me, "You are not authorized to conduct financial service industry transactions of a certain nature. All I can tell you is Patriot Act." There's another flasher. I'm sorry. She didn't say there's another flasher. That was me about the headlights. She said, "All I can tell you is Patriot Act. I'm sorry." Have a good day. So I took my money and my application, unable to change banks. That was the 2013. And then in 2020, during the pandemic, I had an ex-girlfriend call me. She does background research. Professional background researcher, investigator. She calls me up and says, hey, do you know, you realize you're on the domestic terror watch list? And I told her that I had a suspicion. And then this lady tells me that she's going to email me with an attachment of a screenshot on what she found on me. So I get the email, I open the attachment. On the left side is a picture of me, my face, like a driver's license photo. And it was black background other than that. And all my information was in white font. I don't know why it's black background and white font. It was black background and white font. It's got my name, my date of birth, my height, my weight, address information, etc., etc. Then in big, bold, red letters from lower left to upper right, it read, Domestic Terror Watch List. Aha! So I am on the Domestic Terror Watch List. For those of you who are interested, in early October, I think it was the first week of October, in very early October of this past year, it was the United States Senate Homeland Security Committee hearing. And it was divulged, according to them, there are 2 million Americans on the domestic terror watch list. And then if you go back, you can go to C-SPAN and find this. This isn't conspiracy.com or crazyray.com. This United States Senate Homeland Security Committee meeting, October 2025, early October. And then back in 2019, if my memory serves me, there was a House of Representatives Judicial Committee hearing. And the witness on this particular day was Christopher Wray, who was the FBI director at that time. And according to Christopher Wray in his testimony, he revealed that 97% of Americans on the domestic terror watch list, in his words, have no known ties to terrorists or terrorism. Oh, and in the Senate hearing from last October, one of the witnesses speaking was a what do you call them? Air marshals. It was an air marshal, and he was invited to testify that his wife, the air marshal's wife, is on the no-fly list. Domestic terror watch list, no-fly. I'm also on the no-fly list. I am also on the no-fly list. And also what happens to me, I had a neighbor confide in me. This was back in 2018, somewheres around then. One day, out of nowhere, I realized that my neighbors, as I saw them one after another over a course of a week or so, if I saw them outside, normally would wave at each other. Well, none of them waved back. And they had a peculiar look on their face. Some of them looked frightened. Some of them looked angry. So my next door neighbor lady, I was outside one day and I noticed she was looking at me with a very sad look on her face. So I asked her, I said, hey, what's going on? Looking kind of down. And my next door neighbor lady friend tells me, there's something going on that you need to know about. And she proceeds to tell me that a retired police officer knocked on her door, and apparently other neighbors' doors, and told her that I'm a wife beater and I'm a pedophile, and tells her that I have hidden cameras in my bathroom, and that my MO is to coax women and children into my home, so they use my bathroom, and then I record it, and then I post it on the dark web. Isn't that sick? That's disgusting. Well, that's what this retired police officer told my neighbors. So I said to my neighbor lady friend, "Sounds to me like you don't believe it." And my neighbor lady friend said, "I don't believe it." So I inquired, "Why don't you believe it?" Ready for her answer? Smart lady. And it goes to show how gullible other people are. Well, Milgram experiment, right? Authority. When authority tells you something, it must be true. So my neighbor lady tells me she doesn't believe it because, first of all, she lives next door to me. Oh, there's a perp. No, that wasn't a perp. That was the sunlight off their glass. She tells me, first of all, I don't believe it because I live next door to you, and I never see women and children come into your home. And then she says, secondly, I don't believe it because if what this retired police officer told me was true, they wouldn't go door to door warning your neighbors, now would they? No, if they had evidence you were doing this, they would arrest you. Smart lady. And she says, they didn't arrest you, they warned us, so I know it's bullshit. All right, I'm home. Talk to you soon.